to start in the NBA with the Eastern Conference opponent, the New York Knicks, in Madison Square Garden, hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. Knicks ended up winning 106-100. The Lakers trailed by as many as 25 points in this game, all in the first half. First half was absolutely atrocious. They stormed back to actually trail by only 2 heading into the fourth quarter. By the end of the third quarter, it was 83-81. And at one point, they actually tied the game up 2 times. But this is the interesting thing, and it's still amazing to me how every single time we watch a game being played at Madison Square Garden, and obviously the electricity is back in the arena given the finish that the team had last year, given their postseason run last year. They only won 1 game against the Atlanta Hawks, but boy, was that an electric atmosphere in Madison Square Garden. But we still cheer, and we, being the New York Knicks, it's amazing to me how the focus is always on the opposing team, on the visiting star player, as opposed to an actual star player within their own locker room. Obviously, RJ Barrett is starting to emerge a little bit. Julius Randle's continuing to just be as productive as he was last year for the Knicks. Emmanuel Quickly, who had 12 points, 4 3-pointers, a couple huge ones in the fourth quarter. Alec Burks having this resurgence once again for the New York Knicks. Evan Fournier, who I'm going to touch on. Listen, Evan Fournier, who was a kind of like a substitute rotational player, off the bench kind of guy, to over the last couple seasons has tried to turn himself into a starter. Since the Summer Olympics this past summer, he has been on another level. He's just been on an absolute tear. This guy, Evan Fournier, continues to play, of course, against all of my teams. Like an all-star, 26 points, 8 for 14 from the floor, 6 3-pointers on the evening for Evan Fournier, who, again, since the French national team has just exploded this NBA season. But this is what this game's about. And again, all the hype was surrounding a Lakers team that was playing without LeBron. I'll touch on his suspension in just a moment. But again, all the star power was coming and being provided by the road team, by the visiting team. And it further just highlights, every time I watch a game at Madison Square Garden, how unfortunate it is that they're deprived of a major all-star right now. Imagine the atmosphere. Imagine the electricity in that building if they still had even a Carmelo Anthony, who received a standing ovation last night when he checked into the game. So that's the first thing, is I just see this huge vacancy, this huge gaping hole at MSG, and we need to fill it with some superstar. I don't know who. Maybe it's Damian Lillard. Maybe it's someone else. Maybe they draft someone. But that's the first thing. The second thing is, this game was kind of a microcosm of how the Lakers have played all year. First half, absolutely abysmal. Russell Westbrook was atrocious in the first half. He had 4 points, 5 turnovers on 1 for 5 shooting. In fact, the opening quarter, he had 3 turnovers. He was 1 for 4. So you juxtapose that to the second half, where all of a sudden he ends up finishing with 31 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. And yet, despite that incredible stretch of basketball, and as a team, the Lakers in that first half collectively played awfully, trailed by as many as 25, came back. But despite all of those numbers and that incredible triple-double, Westbrook finished with a net plus-minus of 0. Of 0. So it kind of offsetted what was a monstrosity of a first half to a sensational MVP-like or caliber-like second half. But that's been the problem, is the consistency. AD wasn't consistent enough. Obviously, DeAndre Jordan shouldn't be getting minutes right now. He's clogging up the lane. And it comes down to shooting, which the Lakers, once again, don't have right now. Obviously, Kendrick Nunn isn't there. LeBron isn't there, at least for last night. Kent Bazemore is completely out of the rotation for whatever reason. Austin Reeves is recovering from a thigh or hamstring injury. He was providing some spacing. Melo is the best 3-point shooter on the team right now. and he was in double digits. Malik Monk had a great first half, but then couldn't really produce in the second half. So we're starting to see the depth of this team not quite as deep as we thought. It's a little bit more limited. And when I'm looking at these starters again, without LeBron, they're 4-7 this year. They're 5-3 with him. It's commendable that they managed to come back and stage a second consecutive double-digit comeback in a game. But the reality is that shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't have to continually come down to the superstars making a huge run in the second half just to climb your way back into a ball game. They should be resulting in some wins. And it's just not happening. And we're just not seeing it. And it's because of the ebbs and flows of the game and of their consistency and inconsistencies at most junctures of the game. So right now, they're 9-10. They just got to start coming out better in the first half. They turned the ball over way too much. They shot 31% from the three-point line as a team. And that's just not the recipe. And until LeBron comes back, I think once again we're seeing his value and how when he's now not on the floor, you're kind of just crossing your fingers, and it's like you're trying to win the lottery hoping that this team can win. The odds aren't always in your favor.